everybody, welcome back to Easy Weeknight Cooking with Heart's Desires Spice Blends. And as promised last week, tonight we're going to do a burrito mix. And it's one of these really simple go-to weeknight dinners that goes together just in minutes. So with that, let's get cooking. What are we gonna need? About 1 pound of some sort of meat. This is pretty much diced chicken. You can use ground meat, you can use anything you like. Beef, pork, whatever. 1 small onion, chopped. 1 medium bell pepper, sliced and chopped. Of course, 1 tablespoon of our blend of the month, Mexican chili powder. Good stuff. And it's gonna add exactly the flavor we need to this stuff. Some sort of tomato, diced, stewed, whatever you like. I would not recommend sauce for this because we're gonna need to get a lot of the liquid out of this, even though some of that liquid is going to hydrate our chilies for us and just create a lot of great flavor. We're also going to need 1 can of refried beans. This is about a 16-ounce can. With that, we're also going to want some things for after it's done. We're gonna be wanting cheese. I'm gonna be using some of our enchilada sauce on top tonight. Also some diced green chilies on top, some black olives on top, and in the mix itself. Now this is gonna be really great for you guys who have kind of picky families. It's really kind of hard to get them to eat their vegetables unless it tastes like what's in dinner. Get yourself a bag of peas and carrots or some sort of vegetable, frozen or otherwise, that you can dice finely and throw in and let all those flavors just kind of bloom together. And these guys actually will take on the flavors of the stuff around them, and it really helps to get your family to eat what's in front of them that's hidden in a burrito. So why don't we get started with cooking? We're going to need a little bit of oil in the bottom of our pan, and this pan needs to be on high heat. A little bit of oil in there and let that come to temperature. Behind me here, you're going to be seeing burrito shells and some sort of green to go into our burritos. I also have avocados. Time to put in the chicken. We've got a nice bit of sizzle here, and I'm going to put this in an even layer across the bottom of the pan, and we're going to get this mostly done before we add anything else. That way we know that everything is safe for later on. We're going to let this brown. And why are we going to let this brown? The Maillard reaction that I always talk about is we're going to add a little extra flavor to your meat. So you don't want any other liquid except for a little bit of oil in here. So I get a little bit of browning on my chicken. Let that sit until you smell that browning chicken. And then you can turn it over. Move it across the bottom of your pan, nice even layer once again. And now we just wait for this to finish browning. Okay, for our tomatoes, I've taken about half of the liquid out of here so that we still have a little bit of liquid in order to hydrate our chilies with, and just scrape up the bottom, the bits that are stuck to the bottom of the pan with. Oh, that is so good. But not so much that we're going to be having taco soup, which is not a good thing here. So it looks like pretty much done. I've got some of that fat rendering already. Go ahead and put in our tomatoes. Let the rest of the juices of the tomatoes kind of spread across the bottom of your pan, and put in your Mexican chili powder. I love this stuff. So that's 1 tablespoon of Mexican chili powder. Stir that up so that those chilies start hydrating, as well as just lending their flavor to the meat as the rest of this kind of browns a little bit. We're going to be letting the juices kind of soak onto the bottom of the pan for just a minute or two on about a medium heat here, so that we can scrape up those bits that were stuck to the bottom of the pan from that wonderful chicken. And that's going to add a nice little development of flavor to your dish. You will find that there is a slight difference between browning your meat and not browning your meat. So if you want this to be great, then you definitely want to brown your meat here. Now, as they hydrate with the tomatoes, they become much easier to bring up. Now, another thing we're doing is we're allowing the sauce coming from the tomatoes to actually reduce. And if at a certain point you can turn this back up a little bit once you've got things pretty much brought up off the bottom of the pan, in order to speed up the evaporation process of that tomato juice. And you do want that evaporation process to speed up just a little bit, or else we're not browning browning our onions and bell peppers, we're steaming them, which does not really develop a lot of the caramelization in them. So definitely want to make sure that this is reduced. So we have hydrated things on the bottom of the pan. This is starting to reduce, but we can actually speed this up a little bit by turning up just a little bit more. As you're doing that, these tomatoes will get darker and darker and darker, and the stuff coming out of them will get thicker and thicker and thicker. As you see all this steam right here, that is evaporation coming from these tomatoes. What this is doing is it's also concentrating that tomato flavor, and we love that. Absolutely love that. Make sure you keep an eye on this and keep stirring it to make sure that nothing is getting too concentrated and burning on the bottom of the pan. Now we're going to pull everything off to the sides of the pan and put our onions right in the center. Also, our peppers right in the center. And what this is going to do is this gets them in full contact with the bottom of the pan, and that's going to allow them to start caramelizing and add just this natural sweetness to everything that is just to die for. If you guys have ever been to a really great Mexican restaurant and had fajitas there, you know that the best onions and peppers have been caramelized just a little bit. They're brown and sugared, and that's what we're looking for in our onions and our bell peppers right here. So let them just kind of sit on the bottom of the pan. You're going to want to move your mixture around a little bit to make sure that the edges of the pan where all of that wonderful tomato isn't burning on the bottom. Now that we have some caramelization going on, we can mix this all up, and you see all that steam. That is great stuff. If you're going to be putting in frozen vegetables, the time is now, because at this point, that's where you're going to be getting a lot of your flavors melting, and you do not want to wait until you put your refried beans in there. You want your refried beans to be dead last, because those will thicken things up like no tomorrow. So let's go ahead and put this in. I like to put a whole bag in. And this will definitely bring down the temperature of your pan. So keep that moving until all of your frozen vegetables are pretty much well incorporated with your burrito mix here. And it is just beautiful stuff. As Mexican chili powder hydrates with the tomatoes, and a little bit of the ice from those frozen vegetables actually melts, you've got a lot of flavor transfer going there. And that's what we're looking for, right? When you've got flavor transfer going on, your picky eaters will not be so picky. You can blindfold them at least the first bite. This is just about ready for our refried beans. Why? Because the bottom of the pan is getting pretty dry now, and this is not necessarily a bad thing. Now, pulling it out in chunks is never a bad thing, and this is refried flat beans. Oh, how beautiful. And if you pull it out in chunks, it just makes it easier to incorporate with the rest of your dish. There we go, break it up. This will definitely get softer as it heats up a little bit. Go ahead and make sure everything is well incorporated. I think this is done. Isn't that great? We need to take that off heat. We need to go ahead and grab ourselves a tortilla and the rest of our fixins. I like to put some sort of a green in there. So start off, you're not going to put a ton in your tortilla. When you're going to be using your tortilla, you're going to be using a relatively thin line, no more than about that much of filling this, and you're going to leave a space down here. And that's really the best way to go about filling a tortilla without getting it breaking on you, because it's so full. Let's go ahead and cut up avocado, and I'm going to go ahead and just make big slices. As big as they may be anyway. Oh, about a 2.5 inch spread on a tortilla this size, just like so. I like to add my cheese straight onto the burrito mix. That way it starts melting almost right away. Put as much or little cheese as you like. I'm gonna grab me a little bit of olive, a little bit of diced green chili. Oh, and I'm gonna wrap this up. So start with the bottom and fold that up over the burrito mix. Pick up the edge that is closest to your line of burrito mix and fold that over, just like so. And now I'm going to let this just rest on the bottom. And meanwhile, I've got some enchilada sauce that was made earlier this evening. I'm gonna give me a little bit on top, a little bit more cheese, and you are just golden. I'm going to get myself a slice or two of avocado. There we go. And there you have it. From our kitchen to yours. This is great burrito mix. You can see some of the chicken and everything in there once you do that. I love that. Oh boy. Memories of home. A lot of the flavor is sunk into the chicken, the flavor is sunk into your vegetables, and you just have all these flavors coming together. It is fantastic. Add whatever you like to these, whether it be some pico de gallo that you just made, or enchilada sauce, a little bit of sour cream, extra cheese, whatever you like. And from our kitchen to yours, that is burrito mix. You guys keep things tasty, and we will see you with a new blend of the month next week.